Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So I have news to share about the first felony sentencing of a capital terrorist. So it's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So you guys may remember this man, Paul Hodgkins. He is a 38-year-old man from Florida because, of course, where else would he be from? He has long dark hair. He had a full beard and goatee, at least when he was seen in the photos and the videos. He was seen walking around on the Senate floor on January 6th. He was carrying a Trump flag. He was also in front of the self-proclaimed QAnon shaman, and he was wearing a Trump 2020 shirt. So Hodgkins was also captured on video, which this may jog your memory more. He was using his phone to take photos of documents that had been left behind by lawmakers. And like so many of these other geniuses, he posted photos and videos of his crimes on Parler. So that led to his arrest. Well, Hodgkins was facing over 20 years in prison for the numerous charges that they had brought against him. And in June, he pleaded guilty to the most serious of those offenses, which is obstruction of an official proceeding. So that one crime is a felony, and it comes with up to a maximum penalty of up to 20 years in prison. Well, prosecutors agreed that because he didn't actually commit any violent acts that day, he didn't do anything destructive, they were willing to offer him a greatly reduced sentence. So they had asked the judge to put Hodgkins behind bars for 18 months, which I think is very reasonable. You're looking at 20 years and you're going to get 18 months. I think that that's a great deal. And they said that the reason they wanted a full 18 months was because they wanted to send a message to deter future domestic terrorism. So they just went before the judge recently about this whole thing to find out what his fate was going to be. And his attorney literally argued that you don't want to give him a long sentence because this is just about cancel culture. I'm not kidding. And he tried to paint this guy as a, quote, lost soul. That was the term he used. And he said that he had now been found. And he literally showed a picture of him at an Easter service. So I guess, if you go to church, then that means that you didn't try to take over the government. You didn't break into a building that you had no business being in, with rope, with all kinds of things that he was carrying with him that day. Again, I'm not kidding. Literally, he just showed a picture of his Easter service that he attended. And if you guys saw yesterday, I posted 2 new video shorts about 2 cops who went into the Capitol. One of them physically assaulted police officers. He's a cop himself. And then the father, it was the son who assaulted the cops, but it was the father who's also a pastor. So he was a cop and a pastor. So yeah, I don't think it matters. I don't think going to church is the cure-all that these people think it is. So, but back to Hodgkins. So his attorney blames lack of godly grace and a post-Christian society. That's another direct quote. So he said that, he blames those things for our desire to cancel people. Now, Hodgkins himself appeared to be contrite, or at least he pretended to be, kind of like that Anna Morgan Lloyd lady who I talked about, who said that she was so sorry and she was remorseful. And then, like a day later, after she got no jail time, she went on Fox News and tried to minimize her actions. So, I'm not believing any of them anymore. But Hodgkins said, quote, "I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I am truly remorseful and regretful of my actions in Washington, D.C. He also said that Joe Biden is, quote, rightfully and respectfully the president. So I'm sure other people are not going to be happy to hear that. And the judge seemed poised to take a hard line with this guy, because the judge brought up the fact that people were marching and roaming the halls looking for Nancy Pelosi, calling out her name. He said, quote, "That is more than a simple riot." He also took issue with Hodgkins carrying a Trump flag into the Capitol. This judge is Judge Moss. Moss said, quote, "The symbolism of that act was unmistakable. He was staking a claim on the floor of the U.S. Senate, not with an American flag, but declaring his loyalty to a single individual over the nation. In that act, he captured the threat to democracy that we all witnessed that day." And then Moss went on to call January 6th a stain on our nation. And he said that we all fear the next attack. And he called it a harm to our country that was enormous and chilling. So those were direct quotes, enormous and chilling. So you would think that he was taking this very seriously, right? That he was considering the prosecutor's offer of 18 months and that he thought it was legitimate. Well, no. He then made a determination that Hodgkins would only get 8 months in prison. So not 18, but 8. So not even half of what the prosecutors were asking for. Now, before I get to my outrage about this BS sentencing, I'm so sick of this cancel culture bullshit. I'm old enough to remember when cancel culture was called consequences. Now anyone who doesn't want to face consequences for their despicable, vile actions just yells out, cancel culture. It's like they have freaking cancel culture Tourette's or something. That's all you hear anymore. No, it's called consequences. It's called you do something, and if people don't like it, they're going to react to it, or you're going to go to jail, or whatever the case may be. The people on the right, they like to pretend that the people on the left created this so-called cancel culture. I don't know. Why don't you go talk to Natalie Maines? She's the lead singer of the Chicks, which used to be the Dixie Chicks. I don't know how many of you remember, but, she made one joke at a concert about being embarrassed to have Bush as president. And the right wing, the country fans, I should say, but everybody on the right, but mostly the country fans, went ballistic. They were sending her death threats. So talk about trying to cancel someone. It's like I always say, people on the left may try to get you kicked off of social media. They might try to silence your voice. They might try to, take any other various actions, shut down your events. But the right's version of cancel culture is murder. So I'd say that that's a little more serious. So, but like I said, this sentence, I get, he wasn't violent. He didn't harm anyone. But he did go into Congress. He was in there and remained in there, even though police officers asked them to leave and they just refused, and the police were outnumbered, so they just stayed. And they were looking at people's documents. Some people in that room stole documents. He was with a group of people who were looking for Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence because they wanted to, as some of them said, shoot them in the head and hang them. That's who he was with. Those were his friends that day. That was the mindset. Are we supposed to give people like that a pass just because they personally didn't commit any violence? By being there, he allowed others to commit violence. By being part of that mob, part of this group of domestic terrorists, he took the police's attention away and focus away from people who were vandalizing the building and who were assaulting police officers. Without him and without so many others, hundreds of others, they wouldn't have been able to get away with all of that. So I don't know. I don't think that justice was done. I would have at least liked to see a year in prison. You know, are they going to give him time off for good behavior? Is he going to be out now in 4 months instead of 8? The other question I have is, you know, with this felony on his record, is he going to lose the ability to ever have a firearm? I sure hope so. I mean, if nothing else, that would be a great win to take this guy's gun away, which is something that, like I said last week, they're always bitching about it and it never happens. And now they're doing it to themselves. So good job, Hodgkins. Anyway, guys, I will let you know. There's some other plea deals that have come out. I will let you know about those in the coming days. As so far, nobody else has been sentenced, but I have a lot of other updates to bring you. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you can become a friend or a supporter of the show, please do so down below so I can keep the show going. Click on the link in the description box. And if you can't, I understand times are tough, but at least please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again. I'll talk with you soon.